The 2025 NFL season is barely a third of the way through, and it's already been one of the strangest starts in years. No undefeated teams remain, the supposed juggernauts are stumbling, and underdogs are suddenly playing like title contenders. And somewhere in between, a few quarterbacks are quietly rewriting their careers, while others seem to be running out of time. From defenses collapsing in record-breaking fashion to forgotten names climbing into MVP talks, the league has turned into a week-to-week roller coaster. Today, we're breaking down the biggest realities of the 2025 NFL season so far. What's actually happening? What's just hype? And which storylines might shape the rest of the year? This isn't about early overreactions. It's about what the first 5 weeks have really told us. Because if there's one thing the NFL has reminded us every single year, it's that nothing stays predictable for long. For over 2 decades, Ravens football meant elite defense, disciplined, physical, and suffocating. But this year, that reputation is gone. Through 5 weeks, the Ravens have given up 177 points, ranking near the bottom of the league in almost every major defensive category. They've allowed 400 yards or more in 3 games and look completely lost in communication. Players are throwing their hands up mid-play, unsure who's calling the signals. Even reports from the Baltimore Banner suggested confusion over whether rookie safety Malachi Starks was making the calls instead of linebacker Teddy Buchanan. That's not just bad coordination, that's a breakdown of leadership. The Ravens rank 31st in total yards allowed, 30th against the pass, and 29th against the run. Their pressure rate? A weak 34%, ranking 25th. Their sack rate? Dead last at 2.9%. That's less than half the league average. Injuries play a role, sure. But you don't give up 37 points in 4 of 5 games because of bad luck. It's structural. It's coaching. And it's likely to cost defensive coordinator Zach Orr his job by year's end. Baltimore still has time to recover after their Week 7 bye. But one thing's for sure. This defense isn't Ravens-like anymore. But while one proud defense is falling apart, another unexpected name is rising to the top. Led by a quarterback no one saw coming. If you told NFL fans 2 years ago that Baker Mayfield would be in the MVP race in 2025, they would have laughed. Yet here we are. Mayfield has gone from career journeyman to one of the most efficient quarterbacks in football, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are suddenly one of the league's most complete teams. Under new offensive rhythm, Baker's playing with confidence we haven't seen since his early Browns days. He's reading defenses quicker, throwing with better timing, and, most importantly, protecting the ball. A lot of that success has to do with his chemistry with rookie wideout Emeka Egbuka, who's looked nothing like a first-year player. On one 57-yard strike against Seattle, Egbuka sold the out route, froze the corner with a head fake, and exploded upfield. Pure route IQ. Those are veteran moves, and they've turned Tampa's offense into a legitimate threat. What's different? This time? Reports suggest Baker's matured both mentally and mechanically, trusting his first reads and relying on structure instead of chaos. He's no longer trying to be the hero. He's just running the system. Tampa fans have heard this story before. A hot start that fades by December. But something feels different now. If Mayfield keeps this pace, he might not just save his career, he could redefine it. But while Tampa's offense is thriving, another NFC powerhouse has quietly built one of the most dominant units in football. The jokes after Week 1 came fast. The Lions lose to Green Bay, and suddenly the same old Lions memes were everywhere. 5 weeks later, those critics are silent. Detroit has scored 34 or more points in 4 straight games, and they're doing it without even fully unleashing their weapons. Running backs Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery have both topped 300 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown leads the league in receiving scores. And yet, their $25 million receiver, Jameson Williams, has only 11 catches. That's the scary part. The Lions are this good, and they're not even using all their firepower yet. Their offense is balanced, smart, and ruthless. They've built one of the most efficient red zone attacks in football, averaging more points per game than last year's top 15 historic unit. Credit goes to offensive coordinator Ben Johnson for building an adaptable scheme around Jared Goff's strengths: quick reads, heavy play action, and a nasty run game that punishes defenses. It's easy to forget that last year's Lions ranked among the top 15 offenses in NFL history in scoring, and somehow, they're on pace to be even better. The NFC North was supposed to be Green Bay's division again. Instead, Detroit's reminding everyone that this team isn't a one-year wonder. They're built to last, but not every franchise is trending upward. In Cincinnati, one of football's most promising dynasties might already be crumbling. Cincinnati's record doesn't tell the full story. After starting 2-0, the Bengals have dropped 3 straight and looked lifeless in the process. They were outscored 76-13 in a 2-week span. It's not bad luck, it's bad team building. The offensive line remains a disaster. They're allowing pressure on nearly 45% of dropbacks, one of the worst rates in the league. Running back Chase Brown is averaging just 2.5 yards per carry. And when your quarterback, Joe Burrow, is taking constant hits, it's only a matter of time before injuries pile up again. Burrow turns 29 in December, and the Bengals still haven't built the infrastructure around him that true contenders have. The Eagles gave Jalen Hurts a wall of protection and an elite defense. The Bengals gave Burrow one of the league's highest cap concentrations. Their top 4 players take up over 40% of the payroll. When one gets hurt, the entire team collapses. Defensively, it's no better. 29th on third downs, 29th in red zone defense. This team looks unprepared, unfocused, and poorly coached. And while adding veteran Joe Flacco made headlines, it won't fix structural issues. Rumors suggest frustration is growing inside the locker room, and some fans have even started questioning whether head coach Zach Taylor's message is wearing thin. Cincinnati had their best chance at a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Now, they're running out of time. Meanwhile, one team that was written off early might be quietly proving everyone wrong. Nobody knows what the Minnesota Vikings really are. At 3-2, they've somehow survived a wave of injuries that would have sunk most teams. Rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy missed 3 games. Their star left tackle Christian Darrisaw and wideout Jordan Addison have also been banged up. And yet, here they are, winning with backups and adjusting on the fly. Credit to head coach Kevin O'Connell, who's adapted his scheme week by week. After a rough start, he simplified the playbook, relied on quicker passes, and neutralized pressure, even against the Browns' top defense. Veteran Carson Wentz, filling in for McCarthy, looked comfortable because the offense finally emphasized timing and rhythm instead of long developing plays. Defensively, coordinator Brian Flores continues to maximize what he has. Key defenders like Andrew Van Ginkel have missed time, but the system keeps producing. The jokes about the Vikings, still keep on losing, as rival fans like to say, are easy. But this year's team isn't the same. They're resilient. They've been improving every week despite chaos all around them. No one's saying Minnesota's a Super Bowl team. But to count them out with McCarthy returning and their roster finally getting healthy, that might be a mistake. And speaking of unpredictable, the Chargers are the NFL's ultimate mystery box. The Los Angeles Chargers might be the most confusing team in football. They started 3-0 with statement wins over the Chiefs, Raiders, and Broncos, all divisional games. Then they lost back-to-back weeks to the Giants and Commanders, looking like 2 entirely different teams. Quarterback Justin Herbert threw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns against Kansas City, then turned around and tossed 2 interceptions versus New York, one off a deflected pass, the other on a broken pick play gone wrong. When the Chargers win, they look like AFC contenders. When they lose, they look uncoached. Part of the inconsistency comes down to health. Losing both starting tackles, Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, crippled their offense. Without protection, Herbert's been forced into mistakes. But the core problem remains: execution. The Chargers find ways to beat themselves: blown coverages, penalties, and clock mismanagement. It's a cycle that's haunted them for years. Analysts remain split. Some believe the team's just banged up and will rebound. Others say this is the same old Chargers story: flashy talent, little payoff. Still, when this roster clicks, it's elite. Herbert, Allen, and Conklin can torch any defense. But until they prove they can string together consistency, they'll remain the league's most unpredictable contender. And all these storylines, from defensive collapses to redemption arcs, tie together into one bigger truth about this NFL season. If the first third of the 2025 season has proven anything, it's that nothing in the NFL is guaranteed. The Ravens' defense looks lost. Baker Mayfield's reborn. The Lions are unstoppable. The Bengals are cracking. The Vikings are confusing. And the Chargers? Well, they're the Chargers.